Hi, everybody. I am super late doing this mail and make, so I decided to just pre-record it instead of doing it as a live. So this is for all of my Team Achievers from October, and anyone who placed an order in November, you should have received this little packet. And these are kind of the products that we're going to be using, the projects we're making. So you're going to want the Well Done stamp set and the coordinating punch. If you don't have this, don't worry about it. You can use other stamps um, and you may just end up creating some slightly different cards. It's all good. I'm also going to be using ink in Calypso Coral, Pretty Peacock, and Granny Apple Green. So I'll put all this stuff aside. Woo! The banner punch, don't worry, you don't need to have it. I've done the punching for you. I just wanted to show you in this video how it's done. So I'm going to, oh, and I didn't grab any clear blocks. Oops. So these are the 3 cards we're going to be making. And I'll show you kind of what should be in your packet. And if you're missing something, let me know and I will make sure that you get it. Let me just grab some clear blocks here so that, I can actually do some stamping. All right. So in your packet here, you should have your 3 card bases and some little embellishments and a bunch of paper pieces. So what we'll do is we'll start with the Calypso Coral card base. So that's this one here. Now with this one, you should have 3 strips of designer series paper, as well as a Granny Apple Green layer and a Whisper White layer. So first off, as always, we are going to burnish our card base, make sure that fold is nice and crisp. And then we're going to do some stamping. So we're going to use Calypso Coral and we're going to stamp some images onto the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my little fishes and some seaweed and the little bubbles, and we're going to do some stamping with that. Okay, so I'm just doing some tone-on-tone stamping in the background here. So all I'm going to do is go around and stamp some of that seaweed. You can stamp this other one around as well to create our little seabed image down here. Okay, and now I'm going to stamp some fishes, and they're just going to be kind of swimming along, nice big school of fish. And I'm going to be covering some of this up, but I'm just stamping so that there's something there. Not too worried about being perfect and exact. It's just kind of a background texture. And then I'm going to put in some of those little bubbles as well. Again, just kind of to add some texture and interest to the background. Not too worried about what's going to be covered up. Okay, now, and we're going to stamp our sentiment. So in this one, I did Whale Done. This one, I'm going to do My Love for You is Bigger Than the Ocean, because I think that's a cute little sentiment. Put that over there so that I can clean it. And we're going to stamp this onto our Whisper White piece. And then we're going to do some stamping in Granny Apple Green. Now, if you have the punch, you can punch. There should be an extra piece, a big piece of Whisper White in your parcel as well. If you don't, though, I'm going to show you how you can stamp and just stamp onto the background here. I'm just going to get some of my little sea critters. I'm going to grab some more clear blocks. There's a lot of stamping in this one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay out my critters onto my piece however I want them. And then, because I have a bigger clear block, I'm just going to actually pick it up all on one. And this is the nice thing about our cling mount and photopolymer stamps is you can actually stamp a whole bunch of different images at once. So I'm going to ink that up. Make sure that solid part of the whale is nice and inked up. And then I can just stamp that all at once. I probably should have, oh, I did pretty good. I didn't get it all over my background. There we go. So I've got all of my pieces actually stamped in one go. Let's put those ink pads away before I end up with ink all over my elbows, as I've been actually better at not doing. Okay, these strips, oh, first we're going to glue down our granny apple green layer. And this is actually going to be the mat for our stamped piece, but I want to get it down before I put my designer series paper layers on. Now this card, you can actually do a bunch of different layouts. This was actually a case from the cards that we did at Onstage this year, and there were some really neat layouts there. I'm just going with this same layout that I did for my original card, but maybe if some of you guys come up with some different ones, you can post those and we can see some different layouts. Because these pieces are very flexible, you can do a whole bunch of different things with them. Alrighty. Oh, this almost hurts me to cover up some of the beautiful stuff on the back of those strips, but I'm sticking with the plan. Now I have around here somewhere some dimensionals. If you guys could see the rest of my desk, you would understand why I can't find my dimensionals, because my desk is a mess. One of the things I need to do when I have this all said and done is tidy up my desk. Where the heck did those dimensionals go? This is actually embarrassing. I'm digging through. There they are. All right. Oh, I knew they were here. Okay. You know, you'd think that if I were doing this and pre-recording it, I would be a little bit more organized, but I'm not. I also have Sharpie marker all over my left hand. Don't ask. All right. So there we are. Now we do have these three little frosted or clear gems as well, and those are going to go on kind of however you want. This one I did them kind of randomly, all collected. You could put them on the three borders, you could put them all around. I'm going to do them kind of all around just as like an extra little set of bubbles. Like that. So there we go. So that is our first card done. Two kind of slightly different variations on that one. And then we will work on our pretty peacock card here. So this one has a pool party layer, these three 2x2 squares, and a pretty peacock base. So again, we'll burnish our card. Oh, and there's some pool party ribbon in there as well. Now on the background of this one, wherever I put my sample, wow, I'm really losing it here. Where did I put all my samples? Oh, they're underneath the stamp set. Good Lord. All right, keep that there so that I know what I'm doing. We're going to use the same seaweed again, so I should actually clean that. If I can find my scrub, there it is, hiding underneath everything. Clean some of that Calypso coral off of there. Did I say Calypso coral before? I feel like I said Cajun craze before, which is not correct. It's Calypso coral to coordinate with the designer series paper. And for this one, we're going to use Pretty Peacock. And again, we're going to do some background stamping. I'm not going to do quite as much background stamping as I did before. Just kind of some little swooshes of our seaweed. Again, just bringing some extra texture in. There we go. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue down my squares, and you're going to have 3 different squares, and you're just going to layer them. Again, the layout of this you can change. If you want to make it vertical, you can make it vertical. There's lots of different variations with these pieces. So I would love to see some of you create some alternative layouts with the same pieces. I think that would be really cool. All right. We've got some fishes under the waves, and then we've got some more seaweed here. And of course, you're more than welcome to use the back of the designer series paper as well, if you are inspired by those patterns. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this ribbon around. Now I do still want to tie a bow, so I don't want to use up the whole ribbon. So what I will do is, if I find my Stampin' Seal Plus here, is I'm just going to tack a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus on the back, pull my ribbon across the front, just tacking it a little bit onto the back there, and then I'm going to cut the extra here, and with this I'm going to tie a knot or a bow. And what you can do is you can actually tie it right onto this ribbon by just going underneath like this. Now on this one I tied a bow. If you don't feel like you have enough ribbon to do that, or you're not very good at tying bows, you can just do one, kind of like you're starting to tie your shoelaces, and just tie a knot like that. And it's just a little bit simpler. It still looks great. Just trim your ends, add a bit of an angle. If you're concerned about this moving around, you could pop a glue dot under there. It's doing fairly well for me, so I'm not too worried about it. And then this you're going to glue onto your card front. If you're concerned, oh, and I just ran out of tape runner there. If you're concerned about your ribbon picking up, you can just put glue, whether you're using liquid glue or the tape runner. You can just put it right over the ribbon, and that will help hold the ribbon on. All right. Oh, I forgot to do my sentiment. I'll do the thanks a ton sentiment for this one. How's that? Oh, there it is. And then I did do this after I put the designer series paper down so that I can kind of fit it to where my designer series paper is. And you know what? I'm going to put it down here, and then I'll put my whale somewhere else. Now we do want to stamp and punch the whale. Where did my whale go? There it is. I'm not going to bother cleaning it because we're stamping a darker color anyways. So, and then I just need, I think this is a scrap piece here. I hope this is a scrap piece here. Oh, that's a scrap piece for something else. Yes, this will work. I'm going to stamp it onto, your scrap piece is more obvious. It's a big piece. I just grabbed some little ones for me. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this out, and I do want to get some of those little spouts in there as well, because that's how we're going to make our little whale have his little whale spouts. Okay, and I'm actually going to do an extra one of that little teardrop one. There we go. Some of these I'm not too crazy about. I'm not going to use them. But I want these 3 little guys, the 2 little teardrops, and then this little sploosh. I'm going to pop this up onto dimensionals. And then let's figure out where we want to put this guy. I'm going to put him right here, or her. I guess I don't know if this is a girl whale or a boy whale. Or maybe it's a gender neutral whale. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to glue on my little splooshes. Can't do that detail work and talk at the same time. Alrighty. There we go. Oh, my screen dimmed. I couldn't see myself for a second there. All right, there we go. Now on this one, what I did was I actually added some Wink of Stella, so you can hopefully see that that's a little bit shiny, but you don't have to do that. You can just leave them as is. Sorry about that. But there is our next card, all done. All right, last but not least, we have our Granny Apple Green. And for this one, we have some layering to do. So on this one, you have this piece of designer series paper. Now you may have a different designer series paper. It's 4x3, and you're going to layer that onto a Whisper White piece that is 4¼ by 3¼ I believe. And then that is going to get layered onto your card base. Centered-ish. And then we're going to do a whole bunch of punching and die cutting and a little bit of stamping. Actually, a lot of stamping. We're going to cut the vellum pieces. Again, I've done this for you, so don't worry about flagging the ends. This is just kind of if you wanted to recreate this card, you could. This is just a 1 by 4¼ inch piece of vellum. Again, the ends are flagged. And then I'm going to wrap some twine around it. So this is actually our new baker's twine from the new catalog because I miss Whisper White baker's twine so much. I could not resist using it for this. I love just plain Whisper White baker's twine. It's so versatile. You can make it whatever color you need to. It kind of matches with everything. So I just kind of love it. I'm going to cut off this extra. I'm just going to wrap it around twice because with this, I'm going to tie a double bow. So I'm going to double this back on itself. And you don't have to do a double bow if you don't want to. You could totally do a single bow. You don't have to do it at all. You can do whatever you want with this. And then I'm tying a bow with that double twine as if it were one piece so that it ends up being this nice little double bow. Okay, and I'm going to put this aside. I'm actually going to put it on a glue dot and put it aside because I'm going to attach that later on. Okay, this piece I'm going to pop up on dimensionals. I'm going to put the dimensionals fairly close together in the middles because they're going to be covered up by our next layer. But I just want to kind of put this on here to get it out of the way. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to do some die cutting. And I'm super excited because my mini die cutter arrived yesterday. So I'm going to use that because the die that I wanted to use is totally compatible with this. And what I'm using is I'm using the Stitched Shapes and I'm using the second biggest circle. So it's something by, something circle in the stitched circles. I'm going to layer up my sandwich. So I've got the base plate, the number 1, and then I've got a number 2 plate underneath and a number 2 plate over top, just like you would do on the full-size cutter. And then we're going to pop that in there, pull it through. This is so exciting. This little guy is so handy. I love it for all these like little dies. Most of our dies, really, you don't need a full-sized monstrosity on your desk all the time. This little guy just tucks away nice and compact. Alrighty, so now we have our stitch circle. We're going to do some stamping on that. And I'm going to kind of use all of the colors. So I'm going to use that pretty peacock again. I'm going to use our Calypso Coral, just about called it Cajun Craze again. I don't know what's up with me today. And that Garden Green. I'm gonna have to clean a few of my stamps here first because I want to do something a little bit different than I did on my original one. Don't need my whale for this one, but I do need, just doing a bit of cleaning as I go here. These ones I don't actually want, I just want this clear block. I do want my little seahorse. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my You're Kind of a Big Deal, and I'm gonna do that in Pretty Peacock, and I'll just kind of pop that in the middle there. And then I'm gonna do some little bits of seaweed, and I'm gonna do those in Garden Green. Stamping all over my desk, that's okay. There we go. And then I'm gonna do in Calypso Coral my little seahorse. There we go. All right, so that's my stamping done. So put those aside. Oh, got ink on my thumbs. Surprise, surprise. And then I'm going to punch out a whale for my designer series paper. Now I've done this for you, but if you are punching like this, you can see that you're actually going to punch out some of the other designer series paper too. So if you want to save that paper and be able to use it for other stuff, you're going to want to cut out just kind of the rough shape of your whale. And then you can punch and not have all those extra little holes interfering with your other images. Ooh, there we go. So now I have my little punched whale. I have my You're Kind of a Big Deal. I'm going to put some dimensionals on my actual card here on the opposite sides of the vellum banner. I'm going to pop that down on those. And then I'm going to put my punched whale on there. I do want him popped up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one dimensional there and one dimensional down here, and I'm going to double this one up so that everything kind of stays even. And then when I do that, it's all even. Now I've got my bow still here, so I'm going to pop that on there. And you're all set. So there is the same card. I just did some different colors with that one. And a different color whale as well, some different designer series paper in the background, but they both work. And there we go. I'll bring all of the cards back because that is it. These are the 3 cards we made. So we've got a few different variations, and I'd love to see some different layouts, some different stamp sets, whatever you guys come up with. Share them on Creating with the Crafty Medic, and I'd love to see what you have made. Happy stamping. Stay out of trouble. Bye. Maybe if I can find my mouse to stop this. There we go. Bye.